I have no idea.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call a meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No need for roll call. Everybody's here tonight. That's awesome. Old business. Item number 1 is approval of minutes. The regular meeting minutes of November 2nd, 2023 were provided for review. I need a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of November 2nd, 2023 as presented.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Call a roll.
Mr. Garvey?
Yes.
Mr. Bueller?
Yes.
Mr. Clemens?
Yes.
Mr. Brungard?
Yes.
Mr. Stednicka?
Yes.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Mr. Major?
Yes.
Motion passed. Audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council on an item that's not on the agenda? I see one hand. Becky Gordon, please come up and tell us your name and give us your address. We know your name.
I know. I'm Becky Gordon. My address is 102 South 3rd Court. I won't be able to stay for the whole meeting tonight. I just wanted to congratulate everybody who won in the political race and to thank, excuse me, I've got a cold. To thank everybody who has been serving and will continue to serve. And I just hope that, sorry again for my voice cracking, that more people in our community will continue to participate in politics. Again, whether they run or whether they are just trying to be informed voters. And I think that we've seen a little bit more action, a little bit more community involvement. And so I'm glad to see that, and I hope we continue to see that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Becky. Thank you. Was there anyone else? No takers? New business. Item number 2 is award bid of McIntyre Sanitary Sewer Interceptor Project 2021-04. 3 bids were opened on Monday, November 6th. This project will extend the sewer from Gilman Road south to McIntyre Road. All necessary easements have been acquired. The bid results were Infrastructure Solutions for $3,428,750. Legacy Underground for $3,836,000 or $836,901, and Lina Weaver Construction Inc. for $2,995,003. George Butler Associates, the design engineer, has reviewed the bids and found that Lina Weaver Construction met all the requirements of the bid. So I need a motion to accept the bid from Lina Weaver Construction for the construction of City Project 2021-4 in the amount of $3,084,853, which is the base bid plus a 5% contingency.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I do. Tony, I've got some questions. Do we know how much of this will be coming out of the fund and how much will be financed?
Beth would be the person to answer that question.
Okay.
But we have a pretty healthy fund balance, so our final numbers aren't known yet, I don't think.
Yeah, I think really roughly, I think we were envisioning around $1 million from the reserves, because I think the wastewater has a balance of around $2 million, and about $1.3 million from the grant, and then possibly the remainder being financed. So, but that's, like Tony had said, that's pretty rough. Okay. So it's not finalized.
And the 5% contingency, that's just off of the money coming from Lansing. That doesn't come from the grant.
No,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, we'd be paying for that. And in the background behind that, some of you guys might recall our newer auditors kind of view things differently from our older auditors. So I know our newer auditors always want us to include some type of contingency in whenever we approve the bids. So I know a couple of times we've had change orders that might be for $4,000, but our auditors will tell us it still has to go back to the council, even though $4,000 is within Tony's purchasing authority, within my purchasing authority. So our auditors always encourage us to have a pretty healthy contingency whenever we approve a project.
Well, I was looking at the 5% on the 3,000 is like 149,000, but their 5% is only like 89,000 or something like that. So
The
the
base
difference
bid,
between 2,995 and what they're asking for, the 3,084,000, it's like $89,000, which is about 5% of 2,995 minus the 1.3 million we get for the grant.
correct.
So that's what I was wondering. We can't use the grant money for the contingency.
It's eligible to be used for that, yes. I guess I'm trying to figure out, because the 5% contingency would be $146,000, or $149,000.
149, yeah.
149. Maybe there's a mathematical error there.
Yeah.
So it is slightly less than 5%.
Yeah.
If the 5%,
It should be 5% of the 2.995.
okay,
from
that's
Weaver.
more like closer to 148.
Yes.
Yeah,
1,000.
149.
But if you subtract the 3,084 minus the 2,995, it's only like $89,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
There may have been a mathematical error by myself.
But I guess the main thing that I would say though is 2.9 is the base bid.
Mm-hmm.
That leftover portion is in there in case there is a change order, in case they hit rock, in case whatever. So that's, we just, that 3.084 million figure, it could still be 2.9. That's just the auditors are telling us to include.
I actually, the math was, I used a 3%
Oh, you
when
used
I
3%.
calculated that number, so it should be 3144753.
Yeah, 5% of that is 149,
Yep.
Yeah.
750, 15 cents.
So the
Right.
3,084,000.
All right. Are we going to do math online here? So, Tony, what is the number? And then I'll
3
correct
million,
it, and we'll take back the motions and then redo it.
$3,144,753. Thanks, Kevin.
And then
I withdraw
total
my
that up,
second.
which is 3 million what?
144,753.
144,753.
Yep.
Okay, I need whoever made the second to take that back.
I withdraw my second. I withdraw my motion.
Okay. So I need a motion to accept the bid from Lionel Weaver Construction for the construction of City Project 2021-04 in the amount of $3,144,753, which is a base bid plus
5%.
5%.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this?
The engineer's estimate and the actual bid, there's quite a bit of difference. I know engineering's is usually inflated, but
Right.
we're not going to run into another one of those where we need an extra $50,000 bucks.
That is not my intention, no. I mean, the other bids were, within a
Yeah, they were all three
half
low.
million dollars, We never want to be above the engineering estimate, and GBA is pretty conservative in their estimates, so.
Well, Lionel Weaver doesn't have to pay for any staging because he can drive his equipment right across the highway, pretty much. So,
Makes it easy to get equipment repaired and fueled.
right.
Is that it? Thanks. Anybody else? All right, we have a motion and a second. Call roll.
Mr. Garvey,
Yes.
Mr. Bueller.
Yes.
Mr. Clemens,
Yes.
Mr. Brungard,
Yes.
Mr. Stednica,
Yes.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Kirby,
Yes.
Mr. Major.
Yes.
Motion passed. Item number 3 is Valley Storm Sewer Project 2023-03, scope modification. The bid from Lionel Weaver to include the base bid and the alternate number 3 was approved on August 10, 2023. Installation of the proposed liner into the alternate 3 provides an increase in lifespan and avoid disruption in the neighbor's fencing and landscaping. 2 options have been presented for consideration to modify the scope of the project. We have a quote from Lionel Weaver for $162,500. This is for the new pipe and additional utility relocation. I need a motion to accept the staff recommendation for scope modifications of the South Valley Storm Sewer projects and authorize a contract change order in the amount of $162,500.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mike, you want to talk to this, or?
I can give a quick overview, or I can answer.
It doesn't have it in here, but when I was going through the minutes, option A, it said something about the liner that we bought isn't going to work, so we're going to use it somewhere else.
Yes, so essentially what happened was, as we excavated for the installation, we did a temporary repair 2 years ago, and the temporary repair just didn't hold up. And so when we were looking at it, we'd already prepaid for the liner, because when we signed the contract, we paid for the liner. So rather than use the liner in A2, we're going to use the liner in A3, which is between the church and Valley Drive. And basically, it's almost the exact same pipe, so there was really no cost difference in that aspect of it. So we're just reusing the liner. So we're going to take another pipe that's also in not great shape, and we will line that, and that will give us hopefully another 30 plus years of service out of that line.
Well, in the verbiage there was something about you were going to use that liner or other appropriate pipe. Does that mean that you're not sure the liner is going to work?
No, they've confirmed that they can use the liner in there. Liner Weaver has confirmed from their subcontractor that they'll be able to put the liner in.
Okay, thank you.
The pictures look good, and describing the work to be done, that's always good. Visualization's always good.
Yeah, and they buried it almost immediately after we took the pictures, because they had to do the other work. So I wanted to make sure I documented it thoroughly.
Mike, the failed liner. What were we hoping to get from that?
3 to 5 years.
Okay, so we got 2.
Yeah, and we didn't. The liner was installed by the city crew, so this was something that we did on our own. So we didn't go out and get a real liner like we did on South Fork. We used a flowable fill product that we installed ourselves, just so that we had a little more time to affect this type of a project.
Hindsight being better, foresight. Would we do that again? I mean, just hope for better luck next time.
Well,
Well, I mean, it had been on, as a priority, but not in the budget. So this is one of those that was just kind of, we knew we had to fix it, waiting to get money.
This was the one that was challenging because, I mean, it wasn't just a pipe that we knew was in rough shape. Like, it created a pretty big sinkhole on Valley Drive.
No, I want to make it clear.
Yeah.
I appreciate the effort. I'm just fact finding.
2 years ago when we put the liner in, we knew that it would give us an opportunity to program it with the city council for a project, and it really did what it needed it to do. It made sure that 4H Road was staying open.
I'm just trying to educate myself a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, basically, once you peeled the dirt back, the pipe itself wasn't capable of putting another liner in it, correct?
Yeah, it's degraded a lot more in the short amount of time since the last time we were digging in there. And again, this pipe was installed, just for reference, in 1989, or at least the subdivision was platted in 1989, and we assumed the pipe was installed very soon thereafter. So you get about 30 to 35 years out of a metal pipe. We're going back with concrete. We should get far more lifespan out of that. And it is our intention to do this in the summer outside of the USD 469
Busy schedule.
traffic. Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be an inconvenience, and so we are going to work to schedule it in such a way that it is as quick as possible, and this gives us the time to do so.
This is going to shut down 4H Road totally?
Yes, they're going to have a full closure for a portion of this.
For how long, do you know?
We will solicit a schedule and we'll review it, but I'm anticipating they've been working on this other section up here for 3 weeks, but I think it'll be less than that, only because it is it's a little shorter section, although it is a little bit deeper. But they're aware of our timeline and concerns, so they will submit a schedule, and we'll review it and we'll bring it forth so that everyone knows.
Maybe more just for education, because I think we've spoken about this probably 6, 7, 8 years ago, but don't we sometimes struggle just because soil in Lansing is more acidic than other areas in the state, so we feel like that erodes our pipes faster. Is that?
It affects metal pipes a lot more
Yeah.
than you'd get. Like we typically we've been allowing plastic pipes in storm sewers, but pipes under roads have been concrete. They've been in our standard that way for 20 plus years, just to avoid this. Jeff Folk used to make a joke that he was replacing pipes that he put in the first time, and then he knew it was time to retire because he'd been here 40 years. He's like, when I'm replacing pipes I put in, and I think he was joking because he knew how many pipes were coming.
So the detour, remember going back down DeSoto Road up to Mary and then come back?
That would be the preferred detour.
Say again?
Mary Street. If you're coming from the west and need to go the east or vice versa, Mary Street is the most direct route. That's not to say people might not drive up Center Drive, but
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call a roll.
Mr. Garvey,
Yes.
Mr. Bueller,
Yes.
Mr. Clemens,
Yes.
Mr. Brungard,
Yes.
Mr. Stednica,
Yes.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Kirby,
Yes.
Mr. Major.
Yes.
Motion passed. Item number 4 is 2024 bridge inspections. The Federal Highway Administration with the Kansas Department of Transportation require bridge inspections every 2 years. Leavenworth County and the City of Basehor have elected to contract with Finley and Turnipseed Transportation and Civil Engineering LLC out of Topeka, Kansas for their required bridge inspections. Okay. I need a motion to accept the professional service agreement from Finley and Turnipseed Transportation and Civil Engineering and authorize the mayor to sign.
So move. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Just to me, this is confusing.
What they do during the inspections. I know it's only $4,000, but I looked on their website and it just says engineering and design. It doesn't say anything about them doing inspections. So I'm just wondering what's covered under an inspection.
the Federal Highway Administration has a very specific set of guidelines that they do for the bridge inspections, and every 2 years they do this, or it is required that it be done. We've used a firm for the last 5 cycles, 10 years, but now we're switching because we're getting some economy and scale because we have 7 bridges. Leavenworth County has 140 bridges. Basehor has a few bridges too. So because we're going with the same firm that is doing them, they're going to mobilize into this area and do them all at once. And we're actually seeing some cost savings because of that. But it's a set of guidelines by the Federal Highway Administration.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any estimated costs?
Yeah.
About $4,000 is what the estimate was from the consultant. But since this is a new contract, we're required to bring it to or we thought it'd be best practice to bring it before the City Council.
Anything else on this one? Okay, call a roll.
Mr. Garvey,
Yes.
Mr. Bueller,
Yes.
Mr. Clemens,
Yes.
Mr. Brungard,
Yes.
Mr. Stednica,
Yes.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Kirby,
Yes.
Mr. Major.
Yes.
Motion passed. Reports. Any department heads? Tony, Mike, Steve.
Hey,
3 of them in
Since
there.
we're at Tony, I want to bring this up now, I think. And Mike's here. Mike's had a little hand with the odor issue at Ida in Maine. That's been ongoing, but you want to fill us in on what you've been doing and
Sure.
been working with KDHE and
Right.
and kind of fill us in on that.
So Gene's correct. We've had kind of an ongoing issue down at Maine and Ida with 7 Mile Creek. We had a sewer stop up back in July 25th. There was a manhole in West Kansas that was overflowing with some water that was draining to a ditch that drains directly to 7 Mile Creek. It was reported by the homeowner, so we responded and had a subcontractor come out there and help us, and we got the line flowing again. We cleaned the area, limed it, did our due diligence. I contacted KDHE, filled out the bypass report, all the things that we're required to do. We posted the creek. We put a public health advisory out. to basically say no contact with the stream for, a period of time. A week later, we got some rain. We got inch and a half of rain, thereabouts. So we went back and we tested the water under the bridge. Water met the guidelines for the DO and the pH. It seemed to be returned to normal. So we thought everything was good. Fast forward to early September, mid-September, we started getting calls about odor complaints of rotten eggs. So we mobilized crews, we went back out there, walked around, checked manholes, checked interceptors, tried to figure out where this smell was coming from. At that time, we found a beaver dam that was just downstream from where the sewer stop up had occurred. Got with Mike, he and I looked at it. He contacted a beaver catch-it company. They came out, contacted Line River Construction. They came out, gave a bid to remove the beaver dam. That activity occurred on October the 2nd. During the course of that work, they discovered another beaver dam just downstream of the first one. That was impounding yet again more water. And remind you, all this water just is sitting. We are in the middle of a drought. We have been for the last 2 years. The average annual rainfall in this area is about 39 inches a year. And to date this year, we've had 23. So we're 16 inches short so far for the year. So water does not move in that creek as it once would. Angel Falls has been dry for quite some time. So the water that sits there just is stagnant. There's leaves, grass clippings, bottles, soda cans, all kinds of other things that occur, and that water just, as it's stagnant and there's no fresh water to replace it, no oxygen is put into the water, therefore it goes anaerobic, and that's what creates that rotten egg or that sulfur smell. So we kept getting some complaints. On October 19th, Mike contacted Landell Water, and with Tim's approval, we flushed almost 250,000 gallons of fresh water into a storm sewer just upstream of where this was occurring. We had decent flow in the creek, but as soon as we turned the tap off, the water quit flowing. We anticipated some rainfall at the end of October, and we did indeed get some rain. We only got 2.5 inches over the course of 3 days. All that water soaked into the ground. It never made its way to the streams. None of our flow meters out in town registered any type of an increase in flow, and nothing at the plant showed an increase that we would typically see with a 3-inch rain over, let's say, 3 hours. This occurred over 3 days. KDHE contacted me on October the 24th because they had received some complaints from people. They sent some folks up, and I met with them on site. We walked the area. They took photographs, documentation, et cetera, and recommended that the city post the creek with another health advisory, which we did the following day. And here we are. So, again, it's unfortunate that water is just sitting in pools that has contained some sewage. It's not all sewage, but all it takes is a little bit to create anaerobic conditions, and then those microorganisms continue to breed and develop and die, and are born, and they create in a lack of oxygen environment smell. So I know a couple council members have had their phones ringing, and I've talked to some of the folks. Those folks have also talked to KDHE, and KDHE has told them exactly the same thing I'm telling y'all tonight. So,
and I think in the earlier conversation you and I had, the creek bed is not flat and level.
Right.
So even sometimes when you get some rain and it doesn't flow through, it sits in these holes.
It creates eddies and pools.
Yeah, which creates a problem. And in talking to, you and I both talk to the same people. The answer is rain.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Yep.
I think I'm confident that you and Mike and Jim have done all we can do, but we can't make it rain.
It's one thing we cannot do.
And I read in this morning's paper that this is supposed to be an El Nino winter, which means more snow and rain. And if we're lucky, we'll get a super El Nino. So I just want people to be aware that we've done all we can do, but we can't make it rain. And all the people that are experts in this all agree rain is the answer. Right?
Correct.
Okay. Thanks to all of you for working on this. And
It's a team effort, you know.
Yeah.
And we've
Well-
all been upfront with everybody, and
Well,
regulatory officials, they're aware of it. They've been here, so.
Okay.
And,
Well,
and it's hard to explain it to people too, because
Well-
the pushback I get is, well, why is it just this creek? Why is it the rest of the creeks sink like this one then? If it's a rain issue, that's what I keep getting pushback on me.
It all goes back to the sewer stop up.
Right. And I understand that. Right.
well, and Tony, you know, when I got a call before 8 o'clock the other morning and my retirement rest is getting interrupted. I'm trying to get used to sleeping later, but I'm not having much luck. But Tony went down and talked to him again. Tony has given his phone number to all the residents down there. He's willing to talk to anybody and explain to them. You might want to get into this little thing about why the odor is worse in the morning, and then it goes away and then kind of comes back. That you
Sure.
might tell them a little bit about that.
Well, it is unseasonably warm, you know, for this time of year. And hot air rises and cold air sinks. So as the sun goes down, everything cools off and denser air sinks to the bottom and it'll hit, you know, ground level, and then it tends to spread out. And typically the wind quits blowing after the sun goes down and people are outside walking their dogs and roasting marshmallows and enjoying the nice fall weather in, you know, mid-November that we typically wouldn't experience. So they're smelling the odors because they're outside. And those warmer temperatures have also created, you know, faster working organisms that deplete oxygen faster and therefore creates the smell. But once the sun comes up and the wind starts blowing, that air rises and then the problem goes away. You can go down there during the day and unless you're hunting, you're not going to smell anything. But in the evenings and overnight is when that occurs, and that's simply a product of, you know, meteorology.
Well, I appreciate the work you guys have all done, and you know, and it's not for lack of trying. And I know some of the people that I talk to don't believe what we're telling them, and but
They have my phone number.
I know I am well aware of that. So,
Tony, will winter, the cold, that seems to me like that should help. So,
It could. I don't know how cold it's going to get, you know, to freeze everything up. But with rainfall.
yeah, yeah, not just winter.
Right.
Cold really should help us, right?
It should, yes.
Okay.
the long-term solution is rain. Okay.
I mean, a 16-inch deficit for the year does not help. I mean, I don't know
Right.
if anybody's walked Angel Falls Trail, but it's dry as a bone. And I can remember taking my kid and my dog out there and letting them play in it. And I got photographs of it. I mean, in a normal year, there's always water moving in that creek. But I could go out there tonight and drop a leaf in a specific spot, and I could come back tomorrow morning. That leaf is going to be in the exact same spot because there's just stagnant, sitting water. So,
Well, appreciate all your efforts.
we're trying.
I know. I know you are.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wondered while they were here. I know I probably went out of line a little bit.
That's all right. I'll let you have a pass. Let's see, city attorney.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
All right. We did city engineer. Tim.
I think we're hoping to receive a preliminary plat for a 7 to 8 lot subdivision in northwest Lansing pretty soon, so hopefully that would be a good thing. Also, I know we've spoken a little bit, but I know people are touring the LCF property, trying to kick around ideas, whether or not that could be some type of museum that's a tourist destination. So I think at some point we'll probably be hearing ideas on that and brainstorming ideas on what to do with LCF and how the city would be involved. So just something to be thinking about. That's all.
Okay. We will go around the horn. Jesse.
I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the holidays and time with family. That's all I got.
Thanks. Greg.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, and I would like to congratulate everybody that was elected or re-elected into the school board and the city council positions. Congratulations. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right, Dan.
Nothing exciting.
Well, happy Thanksgiving as we enjoy time with our family and kick back, be safe, and congratulations to those at the school board and the election.
To the other side. Yeah. Gary.
Have nothing, Mayor.
All right. Congratulations to you, Carrie. Don.
Nothing, just ditto. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a safe one, especially if you're traveling. That's all I have, man.
All right, Kevin.
Gene and I were at the Parks and Rec Advisory Board last week, and the Recreation Department is doing a lot of good things down there. They have the basketball sign up, they said, is way up, as well as the volunteer coaches. And they have some seasonal scavenger hunt program going on down there that I think people would be interested in, or they're getting positive feedback from the citizens. So that's something to look into. And then they were talking about a Christmas craft that they're working with the library on a certain age group this year. So they've got a lot of good things going on over there. And speaking of the library, we got the update from Terry and her staff over there, and I see they've increased their number of programs by 3 since the last update, so she's still doing amazing. And finally, there are a lot of people I'd like to say thank you to, although I don't know who they are. A while back, I saw Carrie Brungart's name on the ballot for school board, and I saw there was 4 spots up there, and I started hoping for the best. I've known Carrie for well over 20 years, and I've seen how he handles kids, parents, programs, school. And he's not just an educator or an administrator, but he's a leader. And it was nice to see him sign up for that. I've seen him deal with, these aren't just kids, these are Lansing kids that he's getting ready to represent. And I've seen him work on kids with their self-worth as well as their self-accountability. And when I saw the final votes and I saw that he got more votes than anybody else, I knew I wasn't the only one that felt like that. So for the other 1,646 people who voted for him, thank you.
Thank you,
All
Tom.
right, thanks. Gene.
I couldn't add anything that hadn't already been said.
All right. Marcus.
Well, I've got a lot to say tonight, so not really. I'll make it short. Congratulations to everybody that ran and was elected. Congratulations to all of you. And then happy Thanksgiving, have safe travels. And one other thing I wanted to leave. When we did the 5G network installation across Lansing, it was broken down in phases. And they were going to come back based on usage, utilization, number of residents that are taking it, and that kind of stuff. Have we heard anything else back from the company? Are they looking at doing the next phase if we met their goal, their intention?
So I think you might be thinking about AT&T, because I think Clearwave is closed out and done.
Did they go full city though? I mean, their original
There were
briefing plan was to start in a couple sections.
Right.
And then once they got their operating costs going and everything,
Yeah.
they would then expand. That was prior to AT&T
That's
coming in
clear.
right behind them.
Okay.
Right behind them, right? Pretty much going everywhere. So it would be nice to have like a picture of where we have fiber and where we don't. Because I'm not really sure where we do and where we don't have fiber right now.
Okay. Yeah.
If we could get that, it'd be helpful.
They're still working. I mean, they spent all week on Beth hooking everybody up, except for the Spectrum guy that lives across the street. So they're still, like I say, in the last week they've been heavy. They're still plugging along. So
Yeah, well, typically we'd know because they pull a permit every time they do it. So, I mean, I'd just like to see a good picture so we know at least how much area we got left to actually get fiber to.
Yeah.
Thanks. Good point.
Yep.
Marcus.
Yep. Thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah. With that, I make a motion to adjourn.
second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Call roll.
Mr. Garvey,
Yes.
Mr. Bueller.
Yes.
Mr. Clemens.
Yes.
Mr. Brungard.
Yes.
Mr. Stednica.
Yeah.
Mr. Gardner.
Yes.
Mr. Kirby.
Yes.
Mr. Major.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you.